The expansion of planets and moons is firmly rejected in the last 50 years. On the other side, the expansion of the universe is broadly accepted. This video is an invitation to investigate the possibility that all matter is expanding along with an expanding universe. New probes are researching the surfaces of planets and moons. We may find new evidence for extraordinary claims. The Hubble constant is generally accepted as the expansion constant of the universe. It is the constant that indicates that the universe is expanding. Many people have wondered if it is possible that all matter expands. If the universe expands, maybe all masses from planets, moons, galaxies, even atoms, nuclei and electrons could be expanding? This idea is firmly rejected by physicists. In this video we will research some reasons that put a question mark behind the rejections. Over the past 100 years there has been a lot of dispute between geologists about the way the Earth has developed in its 4.5 billion years of history. Theories about drifting continents were criticized by theories about the expansion of the crust of the Earth. And vice versa. There are some reasons to review this dispute. In this video, we will present a few reasons why we should focus on the possibility of the expansion of planets, moons and matter. We may find extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims. The expanding Earth hypotheses are mainly supported by data from paleontology, paleomagnetism, paleoclimatology, geodesy and geology. Wilson declared that the Earth is expanding based on geological evidence and Wegener's continental drift hypothesis. By simulating the expansion process of the Earth, Crayer concluded that the Earth radius r was around 55% in the early Precambrian. Carey concluded that the Earth is expanding within the ocean floor expansion framework. Scalera carried out a further reconstruction for the Triassic period with the assistance of paleomagnetic data. He found that the data are best reconciled if they are treated in an expanding Earth framework. Hilgenberg was not only a globe maker but also a scientist who persevered in refining the investigations about Earth's expansion by using all the new data that was available. I shortly want to mention Ivan Vasilievich Kirillov, Ludwig Brosk, Cyril Barnett, Rhodes Fairbridge, Raymond Dernley, Bruce Heason, and Marie Tharp, Hugh Owen, Ken Perry, Schmidt, and Embleton, Klaus Vogel, James, and Anita Maxlow. If you read Scalera, Variable Radius Cartography, you'll be surprised by the impressive indications these scientists have produced about the expansion of the radius of the Earth. All of that amazing detailed work was totally ignored or dismissed. And Shen and colleagues reported their research results in a paper, Evidences of the Expanding Earth from Space Geodetic Data over Solid Land and Sea Level Rise in Recent 2 Decades. Quote, in this study we infer that the oceanic part of the Earth is expanding at a rate about 0.4 mm per annum. Combining the expansion rates of land part and oceanic part, we conclude that the Earth is expanding at a rate of 0.35 mm per year in recent 2 decades. I calculated the expansion of the Earth back in time based on the results from Wenbin Shen. The expansion today is extremely small, just 0.35 mm per year. Calculating back in time I found that in the Cambrian period the radius of the Earth was 45% of the radius now. You can find the results in this Excel sheet, Expansion Earth Radius. Crayer calculated the radius to be 55% at early Precambrian by removing the spreading ocean floors and combining the ancient continents. Remodeling the Earth into history. Nobel Prize winner Julian Schwinger was quite clear about the energy mass increase on the base of accelerated high velocities as reported by the Large Hadron Collider. Julian Schwinger calculated an increase of mass based on the Lorentz transformation of mass energy, LTME. Here we see that bringing a particle from rest to some speed v requires an energy change delta E equals E kin, and produces a mass change delta m equals m0. The dependence of kinetic energy on speed v can be made explicit by using the relation m equals gamma m0. We use the Lorentz transformation of mass energy to calculate a measurable result also on low velocities and big masses. That low velocity is found in the root mean square velocity, VRMS, of the velocities in our solar system. The VRMS is the remnant velocity of all planets in the protoplanetary disk. A velocity of about 12.3 km per second. We could apply the VRMS velocity in the Lorentz transformation of mass energy, to calculate the acceleration at the surface of planets. We inserted that velocity in the gamma factor and found the gravitational constant. Many small increasing atoms make a significant increase in big masses and produce an outward acceleration at the surface. The VRMS velocity, 12.3 km per second, can be used in the Lorentz transformation and is directly the base for the gravitational constant. We found a key. And does the inertia of a body depend upon its energy content? By Albert Einstein, September 27, 1905. Einstein states, "The mass of a body is a measure of its energy content. If the energy changes by L, the mass changes in the same sense." But at present relative mass is firmly dismissed as biochen. He wrote, "The concept of mass in the Einstein year." Since then, increasing mass is dismissed as a pedagogical virus of relativistic mass. The expansion of planets and moons is firmly rejected. On the other side, the expansion of the universe is broadly accepted. As a referee, we got the Lorentz transformation of mass energy. In my book Confusing Gravitation, Applying the Lorentz transformation of mass energy, I connect the two parts to one concept: all matter is growing from electron to galaxy along with an expanding universe, and according to a conversion from the universal energy field to mass, m equals E divided by c squared. Observations of planets and moons may indicate expansion. We enlarged our perception of space and time considerably because we use recording equipment, by which nearly the whole electromagnetic spectrum can be converted into perceptible information. We can view the results of infrared photography, Sloan Digital Sky Survey, SDSS, Hubble Space Telescope, Hard X-ray Modulation Telescope, Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument, DESI, new satellite missions like Euclid, and the results from experiments in the Large Hadron Collider. In the last decade, we use this equipment to research planets and moons. Many observations indicate volcano activity and fault lines. In contrast, we find little or no subduction. The moon Europa shows impressing streams of fluid, filling the gaps between older parts of the surface. With paper and scissors, we can remove the areas that clearly have been expanding by a fluid-like stream. Science with scissors and paper at kindergarten level. The moon Europa shows areas that are split by streams that break the surface. The two banks of the stream fit perfectly. The subduction, if any, seems to be much less than the observed expansion. We will need some perseverance to find confirmation for expanding planets and moons. The expanding universe is often compared to the analogy of baking raisin bread. These concepts can be found in nearly every book in which the expansion of the universe is explained. However, an observer himself with all equipment would become evenly larger. He would not determine that the bread was rising along with the raisins. How to determine that all matter is expanding along with an expanding universe? How to prove that the raisins are increasing too? The orbitals of planets and electrons are increasing. So, the orbits take more time to make one orbit. Looking back in time, we see orbiting objects that do orbit faster because they have a smaller orbit compared to their real size now. So, the farther away, the faster the orbits. Quasars and pulsars spin at incredibly high speeds. Orbitals of exoplanets are often surprisingly short. The TRAPPIST planets just a few days. Time is dilating along with expanding matter. The more far away, the more back in time. The more decreased in radius and radial distance from the central mass. The essence about time dilation. The calculated expansion of the Earth is extremely small. This expansion is only measurable and visible if expansion during long time periods are observed. The actual measured expansion as from Wenbin Shen needs confirmation from other observations. These observations should be complementary to each other and may finally prove that expansion of all matter is indeed the fifth dimension. There are 4 ways that can be used to confirm if there is an expansion of the Earth, planets, moons, and matter in general. 1. We can peer into the universe. We see our history. We see protoplanetary star systems. We look back in time. See the images of the hydrogen atom in the protoplanetary system on the internet. Many new equipment systems, telescopes, probes, quantum microscopes, are developed and will provide answers about that history. If the matter is expanding billions of years, we must recognize the protoplanetary systems as they were billions of years back in time and will be expanding for billions of years. We can calculate the expansion over time, and we can measure it. 2. We can look at our Earth and see how geologic processes have occurred in history by analyzing the layers and fitting the data together. Scientists, especially geologists and cartographers, are doing this and present pieces of evidence of an expanding Earth. 3. Also, paleontology, geodesy and cartography could bring forward new insight about the Earth. Inserting data in computer applications will provide the possibility to create an image of the development of our Earth in accordance with all the geological layers that we found in the surface of the Earth. We can recreate the Earth in different time periods and see if the radius is increasing. 4. We will analyze the dynamic processes of the planets and moons. We may discover the expansion of planets and moons by observations of the surface area. If planets and moons slowly increase in size, then there must be a tiny increase in the orbitals. NASA about the increasing orbital of the moon. The moon is slowly moving away from Earth, getting about an inch farther away each year. BBC News reports, the moon continues to spin away from the Earth, at the rate of 3.78 centimeters per year. Not only our moon, read The Mystery of Titan's Expanding Orbit. The astonishing velocities of many orbiting planets and spinning nuclei will be expressions of reverse time dilation. In the past everything was orbiting faster. So, we can analyze the past and observe the expansion, if any, at a distance. History is telling. The expansion theories are related to observable data. Sure. It is exceedingly difficult to calculate the data and it is difficult to draw conclusions from these facts and figures. With new equipment, we will improve observations and get new pieces of backgrounds that fit like a puzzle. We may find extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims. We will find out if the fifth dimension is indeed expansion. With perseverance, Taiwan won, and hope. We invite researchers in the fields of paleontology, paleomagnetism, paleoclimatology, paleogeography, geology, geodesy, cartography and cosmology to keep an open eye on the possibility of the expansion of all matter along with the expansion of the universe.